Hi, and thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about the royals and Officer McMuffin. Our user feedback is from people we make laugh, and we end with our weekly feature, the comments of the week. The stories, photos, and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 56. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra, I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
I got a haircut yesterday, and it was the first time in 6 months, and I had to go to a new guy because I had drama with my old hairdresser before the pandemic.
Because he was a Republican, right?
That was one of them. And then the other, I always have hairdresser drama. And then the other one works in the same salon as my ex-landlord, and they didn't give me my security deposit back, even though I left the place like spotless and never missed rent, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to see her. So I went to the new hairdresser, and he knew so much dirt about the other, about my landlords. And I can't repeat any of it, but it was good. So I'm going to keep going to him, and I'm going to be loyal to him. And my hair looks good too. It wasn't just the gossip, but he's a good gossip. And we both wear masks.
And you just go for haircuts, you dye yourself?
Yeah. Maybe he was trying to suck up to me, but he said he thought my hair was natural, so I think he's trying to suck up. But it worked.
Yeah, I cut my own hair a few weeks ago, I guess, and it's crooked, but it's fine. I'm fine with it. Yeah, it's not absolutely crazy. It's just a little bit uneven and a little bit jagged, but who cares? Yeah. It actually looks like I paid for a really expensive, like, fringy bob, basically. Or lob. Not cool. Bob, lob.
Those are in right now, too.
Yeah. It looks like something cool. Khloe Kardashian would have paid $500 for.
1,000. I got a hummingbird feeder. The little hummingbirds are coming to it. That was like the highlight of my week. Oh, look at the birds. They're so tiny and cute.
It's very nice. My neighbors, they have a lot of bird feeders in their yard. But the negative thing about that is that all the birds come into my yard and shit on my car. And that
that's why yes. I hate birds. I really do not. I do. I wanted to see birds, but I wanted to see pretty tiny birds that weren't going to shit all over everything. And that's why I got a hummingbird feeder. And I'm never going to feed the regular birds. They're evil and they're loud and they build nests all over and forget it. No.
Yeah, totally. I get it. Like, I don't like birds around my house, and I definitely don't like the birds that shit on my car, but I love seeing birds when I'm out on my walks. I love bird watching then, but not by my house. No.
Just keep them away. In my old house, I was fighting the bird nests like every spring, but it's been raining all week.
Yeah, it's been crazy. We actually had like 3 full hours of sunshine today. It threw me for a loop.
Yeah. We didn't get anything. It's been raining. You said your cat won't come inside. How is he handling the rain?
Well, okay, that was last week. He was like going through a stage where he hated to be inside. With all the rain, Dexter was happy enough to like sack out and sleep on a bed for 8 hours at a time. Whenever he sleeps inside, he gets me up at 3 a.m. and that's horrible. He's a bad cat. He's an asshole. Yeah.
My teenager woke me up in the middle of the night getting food. I yelled at him.
Well, like, I mean, he's quiet. At that age where he has to eat constantly, right?
Yeah. And if I tell him to eat normal food, he won't. He'll just snack later.
But I've heard that teenage boys, they eat normal food, they snack, they just eat everything. They're like little vacuum cleaners.
He is. I'm trying to keep up with his food needs. So we're going to take off July 6th. So the Monday after 4th of July, we'll take that off from the podcast so we could get a break. If you guys want to give us a nice review, I'll Zoom with anybody who wants to Zoom with me. It's not a great prize. We did have 2 people who got the Amazon gift certificates. That was Sinead and Jana. So thank you for that. We have a weekly Zoom meeting. That's Wednesdays at 4. And I'll put the link to sign up for that in the podcast posts. But if you want to give us a good review, we appreciate it. We need better ones on Stitcher. Because sometimes when we ban trolls, they go and give our podcast bad reviews because they're salty, because they can't comment. Seriously.
Oh, well,
Talk about our liberal politics and stuff.
Those people are just the worst.
Yeah.
If you're still going somewhere else to complain about a blog's politics, get a grip.
Yeah, it's how it goes. It's the internet. Yeah. So we had good Royals gossip this week, and I'm so grateful for that. Well, it was not good. It was kind of shitty, but well, that was a terrible intro. I got to redo it. I don't even know what I'm saying.
It was fun gossip.
No,
it was fun gossip.
It's terrible.
Well,
yeah.
It was fun for us to gossip about it.
Yeah, Jessica Mulroney, who is known as Duchess Meghan's best friend and her stylist, threatened a Canadian influencer over Instagram because the woman just asked in general for people to support Black Lives Matter. Sasha Exeter is a Black woman. She just asked for people to support Black Lives Matter. She wasn't specifically calling out Jessica, but Jessica took it personal.
Right. Sasha wasn't calling out anyone. She just said basically like everyone should support Black Lives Matter right now.
Yeah.
Her basic gist was, why aren't you supporting it? Because it's that fundamental an issue. And Jessica took it way too personally. Crazy personally.
Jessica sent DMs to Sasha that said, I have spoken to companies and people about the way you treated me unfairly. You think your voice matters. Well, it only matters if you express it with kindness and without shaming people who are simply trying to learn. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
If she did it to this woman, she's done it to other people, where she's exerted her influence over them and threatened her livelihood just for asking about Black Lives Matter.
Right. I mean, it was so way far beyond just a regular beef of what exactly did you mean? Were you calling me out? Was that like a subtweet or something like that? It was like, damn, I'm going after your livelihood because I took this crazy personally. I mean, Jessica behaved so inappropriately.
She did.
And yes, it was racist. It absolutely was.
Oh, yeah, that is racism. I'm disappointed in the people who are like, well, that's not exactly racist. That's racist. Yeah. So Jessica got fired from all of her jobs, including she was the host of this CTV show, I Do, Redo. And she's no longer an expert on Good Morning America, Cityline, and then a bunch of sponsors dropped her.
The reason why this became such a huge headline and honestly one of our biggest stories in months and months is because of the connection between Jessica Mulroney and the Duchess of Sussex. They're well known for being good friends. Jessica was part of Meghan's wedding. Jessica's kids were the little groomsmen and bridesmaids at Meghan and Harry's wedding. Mm-hmm. Jessica has long been associated with Meghan's quote-unquote stylist. I kind of question that.
Because Meghan looks too good.
Well, I think Jessica definitely helped in the beginning of when we were getting to know Meghan as the royal girlfriend and the royal fiance. But I think Meghan definitely was getting better help and different help once she was in London.
Yes.
I've been thinking about this a lot. I think that there was probably already an issue between Jessica and Meghan just because of the difference in power dynamics. I mean, think about who Meghan was when she met Jessica and think about where she is now. That huge change in power dynamic has to affect a friendship in a big way.
I was looking at the timeline. When Meghan met Jessica, she was already married to Ben Mulroney. He's the son of the former Prime Minister of Canada, Brian Mulroney.
And Jessica would have already been a very established, socialite, just a very important social scene person in Toronto. And Meghan made a smart friendship by befriending Jessica, and I'm sure Jessica really saw herself as a mentor to Meghan in Toronto society.
One of the women who comes to our Zoom meetings, Elnaise, is from Canada, and she was saying that the Mulroneys are like the Kushners. Even Canadian people hated Brian Mulroney, and Canadian people don't hate anybody.
I could see that, but I also think that Ivanka and Jared still get invited to important dinners. They still know important people. I mean, Ivanka was at that Misha Nuno's, whatever her name is.
Oh.
She was at that wedding with Meghan and Harry as well.
Oh.
We can, snidely say Ivanka and Jared are terrible people, and they fucking are. But they're still invited places. They're not social pariahs.
Yeah. Well, they're so much worse than...
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the scene... Well, it's not just me thinking. It's what we were talking about, is that this scene in Toronto in Canada is much smaller and more insular.
Right. And wider. Let's also say it's a lot wider.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I just think that there are already probably some weird power dynamics at play between Meghan and Jessica. And I honestly don't think that Meghan is going to stick around to see Jessica through this. Who knows? Female friendship is such a weird thing. And I've canceled friends for less than what Jessica tried to pull. You know?
Yeah, I have too.
It's so intensely personal, the fact that Jessica really went after this one woman's livelihood.
Yeah.
Over nothing. Over nothing.
It was so ridiculously bad and so racist. A lot of people are wondering, you know, is it fair to lump Meghan into this? And is it fair to say she should have known? But I think a lot of us, too, have had troublesome friends.
Right. Again, I go back to the power dynamic. Meghan was coming from America. She was coming from Hollywood. It was very beneficial for her to living in Canada to be friends with Jessica Mulroney. I'm sure Jessica introduced her to so many people. Yeah. Meghan was very involved with Toronto society during Suits. So I don't know. Maybe Meghan had an inkling. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. I don't think it's on Meghan. And I've said that many times. It's not Meghan's responsibility to police Jessica any more than it's Jessica's responsibility to police random Instagram influencers.
I'm sorry to laugh at that. It's not fair to laugh, but it was funny.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Like, women are responsible for their own bullshit. Don't try to blame another woman for someone else's bullshit.
Exactly. So here's a segment from our Zoom meeting Wednesday on friendships and female friendships and what people think about Meghan and Jessica.
I know it's so unfair to lump Meghan into this, but of course I'm so curious what she thinks about this. And like, I love Meghan so much, and everything we're learning about Jess, I'm like, this person just sort of seems like a vapid social climber that's just like mean, like a mean bully. And Meghan, no.
We can all think of like one bad friend that we've had, but there's something about them, or they're really nice to us, but you can tell there's just some things they do that mean they are not good people. Like when I was at boarding school, I used to have a best friend who used to fox hunt, like, which is objectively a terrible thing to do, but she was so nice to me. At the time, I just kind of ignored the rest of it.
Yeah, I had friendships like that. I had people who I know outside of our little friend circle hated her. And my mother hated her, and I couldn't see it. I was like, well, she's so great. When we're together, we have fun. You know, we have so much in common, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't until I had gotten some space from her that I was able to see a lot of the things that other people were seeing.
That's really true. We've all had friends like that where we probably were friends with them longer than we should have been, or where we didn't see something that everybody else saw.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about Lainey Gossip's article that she wrote about this situation, and particularly how it affects her work.
Right. I feel bad for her because you know her work situation at eTalk, the show that she works on with Ben Mulroney. You know that that's going to be tough after she wrote that post. I think she spilled some interesting tea, and I think she left a lot of stuff unsaid. She didn't want to get into various things that she's heard from people, mutual friends that she's heard the Mulroneys have contacted. If Jessica is planning a comeback and she's plotting revenge against people criticizing her, that shows that she's an absolute dumpster fire personality.
Well, given how she acted to Sasha, that makes a lot of sense that she would do that.
Yeah.
That seems totally typical of somebody who would do that in the first place. So Lainey said that they're keeping track of even people who like posts, and that they sent out an email basically threatening people.
How petty.
And yeah, it's super petty. Her apologies don't really show an understanding of what she did.
Oh, no. Her apologies were terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's all.
That's all. This week, we heard that the Queen had the Trooping the Color, which is the Sovereign's birthday celebration. I had to look it up on Wiki because I don't know as much about this stuff as you do. It's been held since 1748 to mark the sovereign's birthday, and it's always the second Sunday in June. So she had that fucking parade, even though there's a pandemic, even though there's huge protests and counter protests and basic riots in London, she still had her fucking parade.
Yeah. I mean, and just think about all the stuff that she hasn't done before that. She hasn't given speeches on Black Lives Matter. She hasn't given speeches on race and the Commonwealth. She hasn't given a serious substantive speech about coronavirus pandemic. She made that vague speech about how we'll all get through that, and that was like back in April.
Yeah, that's all she said.
But she was all too happy to have her little parade and not wear a mask.
And none of them are wearing masks, and you called it. When you said last week, oh, they're not going to wear masks because they don't like how they look, I was like, oh, I hope you're wrong. And of course you were not wrong.
And I don't get the vanity with that. Maybe it would have looked bad for the Queen to wear a mask. I don't think it would.
Yeah.
It would be an image that went around the world if she wore a mask.
And they could match it to her little outfit or whatever. It could be like Nancy Pelosi's mask.
She could have a little floral mask. It would be cute.
Yeah.
But how the fuck do Prince William and Prince Charles get away with not wearing a mask when they're out actually meeting people in public?
We know that Prince Charles already had it, but I mean, that's no excuse. And Prince William needs to wear a mask. He was just visiting the ambulance workers. How hard is it to stick a mask on your fucking face?
Yeah.
It's not. I like wearing a mask because I don't have to wear a foundation. I don't have to hide my pimples.
I haven't been plucking my little chin hairs, and I'm like, yeah, the mask will cover them.
Yeah. So I have a zit, I don't care. So Prince Andrew is just so delusional and so self-righteous about his case with the Department of Justice. He's like asking the Department of Justice to apologize to him for asking him to sit for interviews. He's claiming, yeah.
All right, well, so I have a question. Do you think that my analysis is correct? Increasingly, I think I called it a few weeks ago, right? That
he just gave him a witness statement.
Yeah, that he's just offering a written witness statement, and that the Department of Justice keeps on saying, no, we have to interview you. And that's the thing that they're arguing about now, that Andrew keeps on saying, I've offered to help. I've offered this. I've offered that. All he's offering is witness statements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I would be asking you if my interpretation is correct. Because I'm not reading all the source material all day like you are. But yeah, that's how I interpreted it too.
Yeah.
And the Department of Justice is coming out and saying that he's not cooperating. And here's what his sources told the Sunday Times. The Duke is not going any further in their cooperation process until the DOJ begin to behave honorably, unless they have given him some signal acknowledging there has been a significant breach of trust and offering some kind of olive branch to rebuild trust. So he basically won't sit for questioning and is complaining that yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is also my legal theory. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. The DOJ obviously has some sort of evidence that Andrew was somehow involved in criminality and human trafficking, rape, something.
He helped Epstein recruit victims.
Maybe it was even financial.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure he took money.
Oh, yeah. And so they have evidence of that. And imagine this criminal hiding behind his mummy, who is the queen, saying, you have to offer me an olive branch before I'll cooperate.
Yeah. And he's hiding behind the press, too. He's not just doing it in statements from his lawyer. He's giving these statements to the press.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to gin up some anti-American bullshit and act like all the American lawyers are just clout chasers and they all hate him. And aren't Americans terrible? And he's just a good British boy hiding behind his mummy.
And there's a huge difference between the way the press treats Andrew, who is complicit in crimes, and Duchess Meghan, who just exists.
Yeah.
Here's a segment from our Zoom meeting about that. It comes up a lot. This is Zakia and Lydia.
There's no outcry for his security. There's no outcry for his having to pay back where he lives and his security, his living arrangements, his allowance, and the fury and all the outrage about Meghan and Harry with their security, paying back the money for Frogmore. It's definitely a double standard.
But they're paying like £18,000 a month rent on it. Who rents their wedding present?
So yeah, Harry and Meghan have to pay £18,000 a month to rent their own house that they were given, in which I think that they pay for their own renovations. The point was made this week at the Zoom meeting too, that they paid for some of the renovations, right?
I think they paid for some of the renovations in real time, and then part of the Sussex exit was a promise to pay back the crown for the rest of the renovations, and they're doing it through this rental whatever.
That's crazy.
And meanwhile, Andrew is living in like this huge mini palace or whatever.
And he's got everything he needs. He never has to want for anything. And his very real crimes don't matter.
Yep.
So we heard also that Kristen Stewart is playing Princess Diana. And it's a biopic by Pablo Larraín. He was the director of Jackie with Natalie Portman.
Before I saw Jackie, I remember saying, this is complete miscast.
I remember you writing
this is terrible. Natalie Portman is no Jackie Kennedy. She can't pull this off. And I watched the movie. It's not the best movie ever. It was beautiful. And Natalie did an okay to good job as Jackie Kennedy. Pablo brought out a certain something in her performance as Jackie Kennedy, and she nailed some aspects of that. I feel like Kristen Stewart will do something interesting as Diana. I don't think she'll be totally horrible, but I think she'll be interesting. I don't think she'll be completely horrible. I think she'll be watchable.
I think Jackie portrayed Jacqueline Kennedy as so vapid and so superficial, and it was kind of a nasty look at her. Like her little breathy voice and her preoccupation
with
optics, her clothes and callout and all that, those scenes.
It was based on a real thing, though. After Jack died, she gave that interview where she talked about Camelot.
Okay.
And she definitely played it off like this whole 1,000 Days was a whatever. We don't have to talk in depth about Jackie.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good movie, and it was loosely based on history. And I feel like that's what this Diana movie will be. I think it'll be loosely based on some stuff that actually happened. But Diana didn't decide in a weekend to leave Charles.
Oh, so that's kind of what it's based on, one weekend when...
Yeah.
Okay. It'll be a glossy look at Princess Diana, and they'll probably make her look as, as super... You know how they made Jackie look? I didn't think she was like that at all. And I think that's what they're going to do with Princess Diana. They're going to make her seem like this, conniving.
Well, there was an aspect to Diana that was conniving. And
you have to be.
Like Jackie Kennedy.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like Jackie Kennedy, Diana cared about the optics too much.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I get what you're saying, too.
It doesn't... Yeah.
I think it's an interesting choice, and I'm not going to badmouth it because I badmouthed Jackie, and then I ended up kind of liking it, so.
Here's the segment from Zoom where we talk about the casting.
Kimberly Ann mentioned about Kristen Stewart playing Diana. It's a horrible idea.
Just what?
I was like, that's the worst idea ever.
Elizabeth Taylor. Like Lindsay Lohan as Elizabeth Taylor and Kristen Stewart as Princess Diana. Who is making these calls?
I think Kristen Stewart would literally be the sulkiest Diana, ever. And I think it would be nice to see Diana as a sulky teenager. I think that would be really interesting. I think that's what Kristen Stewart does well.
Well, Diana was pretty sulky in moments, so it might work out,
Yeah, so people think that she'll do okay, and she'll be a very specific kind of Diana, like a sulky teen.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I make fun of Kristen as, sulky lip biter bad actress.
She is.
She is a sulky lip biter bad actress, but she could be interesting in this very specific role. I'm not going to badmouth it, I swear.
Why do you care? Go ahead, do it, badmouth it.
I honestly think she could be interesting. That's the truth.
Interesting is a half hour. It's not 2 hours. So that's how I felt about Jackie. It was good for a half hour. After that, you're like, no, it's the same. It's one note.
See, but even in the boring parts of Jackie, the visual stuff was so amazing.
It was pretty.
Yeah, I loved what they did with the costumes and the sets.
Ooh.
And
I went to the John F. Kennedy Library outside of Boston, and they had her outfits. She was so tiny.
Yeah.
Like, you can't imagine how tiny she was. And they had a lot of her stuff and photos. They had a photo of Clinton when he met JFK, when he was like a Boy Scout.
Intern, yeah.
Yeah. It was really awesome. I'm glad I went there. I would go back. So this week we also had Officer McMuffin, Officer Karen McMuffin, crying because she couldn't get a McMuffin. It was late. I mean, who among us has not had our order screwed up at the drive-thru? Meanwhile, a guy was just murdered at the drive-thru for being a little tipsy.
Right.
I have been drunk at a Wendy's drive-thru. I was on a bicycle. This is right before I quit drinking. So it was 4 years ago. I remember it. I was wasted. I went to get something to eat. I knew I couldn't drive. I drove my bike to Wendy's, and they were like, it's okay. The kid told me he couldn't serve me on the bike, and the manager knew me, and she goes, it's okay. They got me my chili or whatever I ate. So yeah, this lady was crying because she couldn't get her McMuffin. Like a week ago, a guy was murdered at a drive-thru.
And so this whole thing was such a huge mess. So
yeah,
Deputy McMuffin, Deputy Karen, she's not a police officer, she's a sheriff's deputy, and her name is Stacy something. We don't need her last name. We're not going to dox this woman.
She doxed herself.
Yeah.
She doxed herself.
Well, and because she wanted to dox the McDonald's people, because she's that fucking petty and stupid and whatever.
She had no proof that they were anything but slow and overworked that day.
Right. You go to McDonald's for a breakfast run, of course you're going to have to wait.
Here's a segment from her little video she recorded. I'm not going to include the whole thing, but just the end.
Right now I'm too nervous to take a meal from McDonald's because I can't see it being made. I don't know what's going on with people nowadays, but please, just give us a break. I've been in this for 15 years and I've never, ever had such anxiety about waiting for McDonald's drive-thru food.
So she's an asshole.
Yeah.
To even put this out there but she didn't even dial it back. She doubled down in another interview. She could have said, I'm sorry, I realized I was tired. It was ridiculous of me to release that, whatever. She didn't. She said people didn't get her point, and I'm just so sick of people being mean.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, you know what other people are sick of? The cops murdering black people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I get having a bad day and like something like that being the straw that breaks the camel's back. I totally get that, and I've totally like felt like, oh my God, I can't believe my food isn't out yet. I get that. But like to make a video and like make it about how you're a cop and you don't trust fast food people to make your food without you
and
watching.
People need to say thank you.
Yeah. It's insane. And it's so privileged. And this bitch is so fragile. She needs to have her badge taken away and absolutely have her gun taken away.
Yeah, definitely. And then the fact that she never had the self-awareness to just say, I was wrong. I shouldn't have recorded that video. I was really tired. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
That's it. So, and then the cops in New York, they said that Shake Shack tried to poison them with bleach because their shakes tasted funny. And that was not true. Maybe some cleaning solution from the shake machine got in their drinks, but it wasn't directly against those cops. And they're ridiculous.
I'm going to send you a tweet, and I hope you include it in the podcast post, because it was the funniest thread I read all week. It was just basically like people dunking on these cops because their tummies hurt after a milkshake.
One guy said, I get diarrhea every time I go to Shake Shack.
I mean, that was basically it. It was like, these galaxy brain dumbasses. Oh my God, my stomach hurts. I have to go to the hospital. It must be terrorism. Someone must be trying to kill me. No, dumbass, you just had a milkshake.
Yeah, and it's also possible that you can get legit food poisoning, considering how much cops eat out. You get food poisoning mistakenly. You're not deliberately poisoned. It's just, who knows? All right, let's move on to the user feedback. Thank you for everybody who left us nice comments on our podcast post. JoJo said, hearing you gossip and laugh always brings a smile to my face. Started listening to all your older podcasts. We recently moved into a new home, and it's great fun to unpack while listening to you guys. And LaUnicaAngelina is always so kind to us. She said, thanks for continuing the podcast and that she loves the distraction. And Duchess of Hazard says that the pandemic has her down, and it's been really cheering. So thanks for doing this. So thank you guys.
It is nice to do this during the pandemic. It's helped every week, actually.
Yeah, I enjoy talking to you. I would like to just shoot the shit with you more, but I feel like we work so hard. We're always working, but thank you for everybody. It's really nice to hear from you. All right, let's move on to the comments of the week. My comment of the week is from Darla on Hecate's post about people buying 30% more processed food. Basically, people are buying more cereal, more waffles, more cookies. I know I am. So Darla was responding. There's this rude French commenter. She knows who she is. Who's saying, and it'll be obvious because I'll link Darla's comment. This is a response to that. And the French person was saying, that's why obesity is becoming more and more prevalent. We need to stop normalizing unhealthy weight gain. And Darla just responded deadpan. Yes, we need to find a way to make fat people feel abnormal and uncomfortable. It's going to be hard because they've been encouraged and glamorized for so long. I'm going to give this some thought and come up with a plan. I'll get back to you.
That's a good comment. I hate when people are like, oh my God, we have to start calling people fat whenever they gain 10 pounds. Jesus Christ, we're in a pandemic. Everyone is gaining weight. Almost everyone.
Oh, yeah, I'm gaining weight. It's hard not to. I mean, I'm exercising, but I'm so bored.
Right, I'm exercising too, but like, my ass is getting big. It's getting even bigger than it used to be. And I'm gaining weight all in my ass and my face, and it's driving me up the wall. And you know what? Being reminded that I'm getting fat, it doesn't help.
Yeah, it's rude. And I think that person told me, we were talking about diet soda, and she's like, that's going to make you fat. I love diet soda. Shut up.
Yeah, it sounds like someone else has the one with the eating disorder. But
yeah,
anyway.
Ooh.
All right, my comment of the week was from that story about the cops thinking that they were poisoned with bleach because they had a tummy ache. From milkshakes. And so Sam C said, wasn't there also a story about Austin police officers forging thank you notes to themselves after they had incidents with protesters? And that's true, there was. And Miranda said, are you serious? Jesus, did they also send themselves flowers and a note with a plagiarized Lord Byron poem? It's from another police department in Canada. You wouldn't know them.
I saw that. I almost picked that for my comment of the week. I forgot about it. I was like, that's a good one.
But Austin police posted a photo of all the quote unquote thank you notes that they've been getting. And on all the notes, it was the same handwriting with thank you.
Same handwriting. My local police department has signs out that say thank you. Like a big one that they ordered off the internet or something. It says, thank you for all your hard work. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you kidding me? You are that weak. You have to thank yourselves. Lame. All right. Thanks for listening, bitches.
Yeah, thanks, bitches. And fuck the police.
That's right. Fuck the police. I can't play a segment from that because it's copywritten, but imagine it. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you like us, please turn off your ad blocker when you visit our site. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again.